This is me, thinking I found my first ever motorbike 25 years after I lost it. But there's one problem. I'm not even sure it's the right one. My first motorbike was life-changing for me. My first races, my family's story, and the reason I ever rode a bike. And I wanted my son to feel the same thing. So I decided to try and track it down. To understand why this bike mattered so much though, we need to go back 25 years. Everyone has something from their childhood they wish they'd never let go of. For me, it was this, a 1997 Yamaha PW50. The first bike I ever rode when I was just 4 years old. But I wanted to know, how many Pee-wees in the world are there? It turns out a lot, over 400,000 of them. This is officially a needle in a haystack mission. So, I did what anyone would do, eBay. But finding a kid's motorbike from 25 years ago seemed like an impossible task. There's pretty much a PW50 since time began for every year. But funnily enough, none of them look like mine. And I was beginning to think I'd hit a dead end. But then I had an idea. A plan that might actually work. See, there's this theory called the 6 degrees of separation. If you haven't heard of it, it basically means that everyone on the planet is connected to anyone else through 6 people or fewer. So if I could trace each person who'd owned this bike, from my dad to the guy he sold it to whoever has it now, maybe, just maybe, I could find it again. It sounds ridiculous, but it might be my only chance. So where do I even start? We need to go back to 1997. I was 4 years old and my dad was racing in the British Superbike Championship for the official Cadbury's Boost Yamaha team. From about 3 months old, I'd spent every weekend stood in garages and paddocks watching him race. And at some point, I must have begged him for a bike of my own. Because one day, a tiny blue Yamaha PW50 turned up in the garage. No gears, no clutch, and an unlimited supply of crashes. My brother Taz rode it, our mates rode it, and basically any poor kid who came into our garden left with a grass stain and a new fear of two-strokes. But like most families, we eventually sold it to make way for something bigger. And that should have been the end of the story. But it wasn't. That little bike was the start of everything. It's where me and my brother's entire careers began. So now, 25 years later, I want to find it again. But where do you even start? There's no logbook for a kid's mini bike, there's no registration number, and if we sold it in 2002, the bike's probably changed hands 4 or 5 times since. So I thought, maybe I should start at the beginning with the man who bought the bike. My dad. I'm looking for my original PW50.
Okay.
So, firstly, when did you get that bike, or where did you get it from?
Ended 97. I mentioned to Yamaha that the next generation Mackenzie might just be about ready for a bike. The boss at the time was Jeff Turner, and he said, sounds like he's ready for a PW50. I was in favour of Yamaha at the time, and I was lucky enough to land myself a free PW50.
Oh, so it was free?
FOC.
And then you sold it?
Ah. Yeah,
Right.
really think about that.
And then when would you have sold it?
I started working for Crescent Suzuki at the time, Paul Denning's team. Went to Dan at Crescent Suzuki in 2003.
So I need to get in touch with Dan to see if
Dan's your next stop.
And that was it, the very first lead. After 25 years, the first clue. Now I knew of Dan. He then went on to work in the official BMW World Superbike team, which meant I had a very good chance of tracking him down. Now I managed to get hold of a phone number for Dan, but when I messaged him, it turned out the bike wasn't for him. It was for his brother, Chris.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
How are you doing, alright?
Not bad, you okay?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Good. And then Dan thinks that it was actually you that bought the bike. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So Dan obviously knew Dad because he was working in the team, and then you're Dan's brother.
Yeah, that's right.
And I take it you didn't buy it for yourself at the time?
No, it's a bit too big for it.
So was it for your lads, is that right?
Yeah, my 2 lads, yeah.
You don't remember how much you bought it for at the time, do you, by any chance?
Yeah, 500 quid. I saw him on a soggy day at Mallow and I said, oh, did you get that PB for free? And he was like, he was a bit coy about it.
Do you know who you sold it to?
I actually, sold it to Alan Cook up at Road and Race.
Oh, right.
Because he wanted it for his son.
Oh, and so, do you still know Alan now?
Yeah, my youngest lad works for him.
Oh, no way. Alan, another link in the chain. So I had to track Alan down next. Now Chris kindly gave me a number for Alan, but I couldn't believe who Alan had sold it to next. Not only was he a friend of mine, but he was none other than Isle of Man TT racer James Hillier. James, how you doing?
How's it going?
Not bad. The reason for the call is it's a bit of a random story which I'm hoping you can give me an answer to. I've been on a wild goose chase for my original PW50, and so far I've gone down a trail of people, so it's taken me from Crescent Suzuki to a guy called Alan. Now Alan's told me that he sold the bike on to you, so you're the next piece in the chain.
I know. Yeah.
And what happened to the bike after you had it?
It's in my garage. I feel a bit bad really because my son, who I bought it for, has asked me a lot of times about riding it. It's in a few bits because I started not restoring it, but getting it in a more usable state because it was a bit okay. Well, a few things weren't quite right with it. So, but the bike's there. I mean, actually, it's taken me so long. He's outgrown it, so it's sort of just become a piece of clutter in the garage, to be honest, at the moment.
And so, would you be up for selling it?
Well, yeah. I don't know what I'll tell him because he actually, I'll tell it. Yeah, I won't tell him.
I feel bad. I'm taking the child's bike.
He's too big for it anyway, and it's it'll free up a bit of space. So I'll just wait till he notices. But yeah, that's pretty cool. If you think that is your old bike, and it makes sense if it's from. I definitely bought it from Alan, and I didn't really ask any questions. It had another kid's name on the graphics, so I peeled them off. But it's my lad's ridden it, so it is usable and runs, as good as an old Pee-wee does. So that's pretty cool if that is your old one.
That's awesome. Now the one bit of this whole story which I've found out along the way, I've got to ask, how much are you going to sell it me for? I mean, I'm already in at this point, so I'm in a tricky position. I haven't got much bargaining power. I just get a bit of my money back towards it. It cost me, I think I give 350 quid for it. And it's not in nice condition, it's in usable condition, which is pretty rotten. So, look, if you take it off me... You just broke up just on the important bit of the price. What was the price? 300? Right, done deal, yeah. So, when this bike originally got sold by my dad to Chris, he sold it for £500. He actually got it for free. So, he made 500 quid out of it, everyone else is up on the chain, and now I've had to buy my own bike back, which Dad made 500 quid out of originally. So you don't get to pay for it? Well, I think I'm going to have to. Cost him nothing. Yeah, exactly. It'd still be 200 quid now. That's it. Alright, cheers James. Bye bye. See you later, mate. Bye bye.
And that was it. After 25 years, I'd found where my bike finally was. But as I stood there, something started nagging at me. What if this wasn't the bike? There was only one way to be sure, and I hadn't found it yet. But I needed to find something other than a story that linked that bike back to me. I wanted proof. Anyone could have swapped parts over the years, and this little bike had changed hands 4 or 5 times that I knew of, so I started looking closer. The front mudguard was different, and in the box of bits James had given me there was all sorts of parts. But nothing really screamed that this bike was mine, other than it being the same year and the same model that I originally rode. But that's when I saw it. On the front forkleg, a Dunlop sticker. But this wasn't just any Dunlop sticker hanging on after 25 years. Because at first, I didn't think much of it. But then I remembered, back in 1997, my dad's British superbike Yamaha had the same Dunlop sticker. And suddenly it hit me. That exact sticker wasn't just any decal, it was from his race bike. There must have been some lying around the toolbox that he'd stuck on my PW50, and somehow it had survived every owner since. But, although I now had proof that this bike was mine, there was still one big question looming over me.
The real question is, will this bike still run?
I had the proof that after 25 years I was looking at the same front forks that my 4-year-old hands would have once gripped. I'd actually found it, my first ever motorbike. A blue 2-stroke that started everything. It gave me my first crash, but after sitting for decades, I still needed to answer this question. Would it run? So here goes nothing.
So this is it, the moment of truth. Let's see if it'll run.
25 years later, it still runs, but it's rough, tired, and it deserves better. So So that's my next mission, to bring it back to life. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.